A lot of people are really worried about making mistakes, whether that be, something small or something large. A lot of people kind of agonize over this question or not of, am I about to make a mistake? But what a lot of people don't really think about is what I'm doing right now and not taking action. Is that going to be a mistake? And today we're going to be talking about the kind of the top indicators I have that like not moving to Alaska is actually going to be a mistake for you. So we'll jump into that in just a minute. Before we get started, if I haven't mentioned already, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska with Keller Williams. My mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And the purpose of this YouTube channel is to answer the questions people have as they're moving to Alaska. And without further ado, let's go and jump into today's video talking about the top signs that not moving to Alaska is probably going to be a mistake for you. Probably one of the biggest signs we have that you're probably cut out to move to Alaska and not moving here is going to be a mistake is if you are spending a lot of time, like a gratuitous amount of time, looking at pictures of Alaska on Instagram. So if this is you, then that's probably a really good sign that it's time for you to start at least seeing about visiting here. If you've already visited here and you're still looking at pictures like that, chances are that you might want to start looking at realistically what moving up here might look like for you. The second indication that not moving up here is going to be a mistake for you is if you are finding yourself constantly daydreaming about being up here in Alaska. So this is there's a little nuance to this. Okay, so on one side, if you have not been here before and you're daydreaming about it all the time, it's going to be really important. Most people know this already, but it's going to be really important to make sure you have a really good sense for what Alaska is really like, just to make sure you're not creating some kind of a fantasy in your mind about what it's like, because that could lead to a lot of disappointment. Make sure that you're taking Alaska for what it actually is, warts and all, and not just looking at all the positives or, a lot of the stereotypes or a lot of how Alaska is presented on a lot of online places right now. So you want to make sure that you're looking at it for what it is. But if you do know what Alaska is like and you have a good sense of it, or you have a good sense for what it's really like because you watch channels like this and you still really love the state and it still sounds really awesome, then, that might be a good indication if you're still daydreaming about it, that, it might be a good time for you to look at starting to move here as well. This next reason is pretty straightforward. If you are really outdoors oriented, like you really just love being outside all the time, if you can possibly work it like you'd be outside about 90% of the time, then there's a good chance Alaska is going to be a great fit for you, and not moving up here is going to be a mistake because it is very outdoors oriented out here. Whether it is during the summertime, we've got hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, all this great stuff, or it's during the wintertime and you love the snowshoeing, the skiing, the snowboarding, backcountry skiing, ice fishing, all this stuff, and that just floats your boat on both times a year, then Alaska might be a great place again for you to really explore moving to. And if not moving here, then at least making sure that you're able to be up here for an extended period of time. Now, let's go ahead and take a break real quick. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you do know that I host the Alaskan Journey podcast, in which I talk with people who've recently moved up here about their experiences. And this is a great podcast, gives you a lot of stories, a lot of tips and tricks from people who've recently done what it is you're thinking about doing. And I also have a relocation guide for those of you who are considering moving up here. Do feel free to go to my website, register, and then put relocation guide in the comment section so I know what to send you. Now, let's go and finish today's video. Now, another indication that it might be time, like it's probably high time or past time for you to be considering moving up here, is if you have found yourself vacationing up here 3 or more times, it is probably really time for you to seriously be looking at moving up here. And people move up here without ever actually having been here before, and that works out great for a lot of people. But I'm just saying, if this has become like your number one vacation spot, this is like where you and the family come every year, then chances are you probably should really start looking at moving up here, or maybe even just doing some kind of a snowbird situation. So I think once you get to that point where you're coming up here that often and that regularly, then I think Alaska's calling to you and you're probably just ignoring it for the moment. Let's take a break real quick. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you do know that I focus primarily on the South Central Alaska area. And while that's going to remain the case moving forward, we are actually going to be partnering with our colleagues across the entire state to bring you market updates for what's going on inside the markets of each one of the big market centers here in the state of Alaska, looking at Fairbanks, Kenai, Homer, Kodiak, and Juneau / the Southeast area. So this is going to be a very exciting project called the Trailblazer Project. I've not seen this done in any other state before, where we are bringing you all the market updates for the entire state under the roof of one channel. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So when you guys are seeing market updates coming from people who aren't just me on the channel, you know what's going on there. If you guys are really nice, then we might actually be able to convince some of these folks to actually provide some more content and talk specifically about what it's like living in their market. So when you see these videos pop up, make sure to jump over there, give them plenty of likes, plenty of love, give them lots of comments. And just know that that's fulfilling kind of the mission we still have on the YouTube channel to help you build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate, whether that be in South Central Alaska or anywhere else in Alaska that we have our colleagues in at the moment. So just want to make you aware of that, and let's go and finish today's video. Another good indication that not moving to Alaska is going to be a mistake is if you really do like the small town lifestyle. Like, you don't necessarily need all the conveniences, you don't need the concerts, you don't need all the amenities that living in a large city has to offer, and you really do enjoy kind of that small town feel, then Alaska, for about 90 or 80% of the state, is going to be a great fit for you, because that's really what we specialize in, kind of that smaller, slower lifestyle up here. And that's really going to stand out and be a real positive for a lot of people. So if that's going to be something that's really important to you, then I say that not moving up here could actually be a mistake for you. And this last one really is pretty straightforward. If you want the experience of living on the last frontier, then not moving up here and not getting it done is going to be something you're probably going to regret in the long term. So, unfortunately, there really is no way to do it easily. Alaska is a long ways away, and it is something that's going to require some commitment, some level of sacrifice from you, and you're not always guaranteed that it's going to be exactly the way it is you thought it would be like living up here. So that's always going to be some element of risk. But if you really want the experience of living on the last frontier, it's probably going to be something that you're going to really wish you had done later on. So if living on the last frontier is something you really want to do, then and you've kind of checked all these other boxes, and this is still something that you're really passionate about, then it's time to really start talking about moving up here to Alaska. And you can certainly start out by renting at first. You can certainly do that. You don't have to, put down the more or less permanent roots immediately, but not doing it is going to create some level of regret later on here. So dip your toe in, slowly start getting used to it, and just know there's risk in not doing something, and there is risk in actually doing something. So I sure hope this video has been useful for you. If it has, give this video a like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.